Hello, happy gardeners. Welcome back to Southwest Victory Gardens, your resource for organic gardening here in the desert Southwest. My name is Brandon, and on this channel, you learn all about desert gardening in a hotter climate using fewer inputs, fewer resources, less water, and all while doing so while gardening in harmony with our Sonoran desert ecosystem. So thanks for checking out this channel. If you like what you hear today, like what you see, please go ahead and subscribe. And for sure, definitely check out our website, southwestvictorygardens.com. If you visit our website, you'll find just a ton of information on desert gardening. We have planting guides, we have planting calendars, we have information on drip irrigation and rainwater harvesting. All kinds of stuff. It's all free. You can download it. So please check that out and help yourself to whatever you find there. Awesome. So today we're going to be doing a couple of short videos, quick videos on how to make your own potting mixes from scratch. So if you've ever tried to, let's say, start a backyard garden or plant a tree or just dig a hole for any reason, you've probably encountered our desert soil, which can be very compacted. It's very poor in nutrient quality. It's got a high pH. So it's very difficult to start a garden in native desert soil. It takes a lot of amending and a lot of work to get it to really grow plants very well. Once you do amend it and you do all that work, it's really great stuff to grow gardens in. But unfortunately, you know, that amount of work that it takes is really a deterrent for a lot of people. So a great alternative to in-ground gardening or sunken beds is to go ahead and start with raised beds or container gardening. So you can see behind me here we have a nice little container garden. If you're like me and you rent, you know, container gardening is definitely a great option for that. Also raised beds, you know, you can use raised beds and start with the really super nutrient dense potting soil from the very beginning, and then that way you just avoid all of those problems associated with desert soils in the first place. However, there is one big barrier, one big problem to container gardening or to raised bed gardening, and that is the cost of potting soil or potting mixes. So let's say you have a small like raised bed, let's say it's 3 feet by 6 feet by maybe 1.5 feet, and you want to buy a bagged over-the-counter bag potting mix to fill that raised bed with. Well, if you just get an average, you know, over-the-counter bag potting mix, you're going to spend roughly $300 on bag potting soil just to fill that raised bed, right? And so for a lot of people, especially folks that are wanting to get into gardening to save money, you know, spending $300 on potting mix is just, you know, simply out of the question. So container gardening has just that barrier to it where, you know, you don't have any of the issues associated with desert soil, but you have a different problem where you have to spend a lot of money in order to get a really good potting mix to fill your containers or your raised bed with. So what do? What's a good alternative, right? Well, you can basically save a lot of money by simply making your own potting mix from scratch using organic ingredients. And the cool thing is that these ingredients, these 4 organic ingredients that I'm going to talk about today, they can all be sourced locally here in Tucson from local companies. They are all organic, right? So if you want to be an organic gardener, all of these products will qualify for that. But the best part is not only are you going to be saving money and you're going to be supporting, you know, local businesses, but the potting mix that you make from scratch using these 4 ingredients is actually going to be a lot better quality than what you would get over the counter. Now here in the New Estrateria garden, I've done a lot of testing on tons of different potting mixes and different potting mix recipes. And what I've found is that, you know, these really expensive mixes, things like, you know, Happy Frog, Ocean Forest, you know, those really expensive $25 a bag mixes, they don't perform any better than your run-of-the-mill Kellogg's, Scott's Turf Builder, you know, Miracle Grow type mixes, right? And so you have this wide price range of all of these different potting mixes, and none of them really perform very well, and they all tend to perform about the same. So why are we spending, you know, $25 a cubic foot when we can just buy all the ingredients, mix it together ourselves, and save a lot of money? So if you're able to get these ingredients wholesale, meaning in large quantities or in bulk. So if you, let's say you buy your compost by the cubic yard and you take your truck down and get it, loaded up in your pickup truck, and you get the large quantities of the material, you're going to be spending roughly $2.50 to $3 a cubic foot for a really, really excellent high quality potting mix, whereas just the cheapest over-the-counter bag potting mix is roughly $3.50. So you're going to make a really, really great mix for less money, and it's going to perform a lot better all around. So making your own potting soil is really just a no-brainer, and it's a really, really great skill for backyard gardeners to have. So what are you going to do? How are you going to make your own potting soil? Well, essentially all we do is we take 4 different ingredients and we mix them in different quantities, in different amounts, and we use them differently to get different textures, let's say, or different types of potting soil. So one of our mixes works really good for, let's say, the greenhouse, where we're growing seeds and really tiny young plants that are juveniles, whereas another mix might work better, let's say, for cactus and succulents, things that don't need a lot of nutrients but need, maybe more pore space, and they need for that soil to drain a little bit better. So even though we're going to be using the same 4 ingredients, if we mix them differently, we can get really drastically different results from our potting mix. So that's also going to help us, right? Because we're not just buying some over-the-counter mix that we don't know what it is and whether or not it's going to perform in the way that we need it to perform. Okay, so the 4 ingredients that we're going to use, I have sitting right here next to me, are going to be, number 1, compost. Compost is going to be the most important ingredient in our mixes. It's also the cheapest ingredient. Compost gives us all of our nutrients that we need. It also gives us a really great, structure, something for the roots to really hold on to and actually, stay secure in the potting soil. So you can make your own compost from scratch at home, and if you do that, obviously it's going to be a lot cheaper than if you go out and you buy it, right? Of course. So that'll save you even more money. Second ingredient is coconut husk. So you can see here we have different types of coconut husk. The different types of coconut husk will give us different textures and different, our mixes are going to be either a little bit more dense or a little bit more fluffy, a little more airy, just by simply using different types of coconut husk. And we'll show you what those ones are here in a minute. And then lastly, our last 2 ingredients are 2 different mineral products. Here in the brown bag, we have vermiculite, and here in the green bag, we have perlite. So a 3.5 cubic foot bag of perlite and a 3.5 cubic foot bag of vermiculite. These are the largest quantities these products come in, and when you buy them in this size, they're going to be a lot cheaper than if you just buy a small little bag. You can also buy these products wholesale at the community food bank, where they sell them, at the wholesale rate, but in smaller quantities, so you have that option for you as well. So vermiculite's the most expensive, compost is the cheapest, and depending on how much of those ingredients you use in your mix, all of these different ingredients will depend on the different, will give you, different textures, different applications that you can then use those mixes for. All right, so this just gives you a general introduction of why you should be using your own potting mixes, the 4 ingredients that you're going to need to make your own potting mix, and down below in the description I'm going to give you a link there to all of the different resources here locally where you can find these different ingredients in bulk quantities, so that you can go out and acquire these mixes, and then you can go out and check out the next videos, and we're going to show you how you can use these mixes in your garden so that you can make your own potting mix, and how to mix them in what amounts to get different results. So we're going to make 3 different potting mixes using these 4 ingredients, and we're going to mix them differently to give you a different result for each mix. So I'm going to put the link to those videos down below as well, so please check that out, and if you like what you see, again, please subscribe to this channel. I really would appreciate that, and if you have any questions or you have any comments, go ahead and leave some questions and comments down below. I love talking with y'all about different stuff, and if you have any other ideas about how you can what you use for your potting mixes, go ahead and share that down below as well. So thank you so much for checking out this video, and please check out our next videos on how we can mix these together and in what amounts, so that you can make your own potting mixes. All right, thanks guys, take care.